As we head into the fall season, the upcoming months have an insane amount of game releases, and that's what we'll be covering in this video, specifically the month of September, and taking a look at the top 20 upcoming games of September 2018. There's a lot of games to go over, and this is across every platform, so what platform the games are available on, we'll definitely mention that. Without further ado, let's get right into this. Let's start things off with, without a doubt, the biggest game of September, and that's Marvel Spider-Man. We've been looking forward to Marvel Spider-Man for so long. The guys over at Insomniac, who have also done games such as Ratchet & Clank, Resistance, Sunset Overdrive, they have taken the helm in creating the first truly epic Spider-Man game. Yes, there have been other Spider-Man titles that have been good, but nothing truly amazing like this game has the potential to be. The anticipation behind this game is absolutely enormous right now. Insomniac has a lot of pressure on delivering with this game, and at this point their work is done. It'll be very interesting to see how this game turns out, because again, the hype is so high that even if this game is great, it would be a little underwhelming to gamers. It truly has to be an amazing game, and I'm hoping that's what we get, and considering it is Insomniac, I think that's what we will get. Next up, we have Genesis Alpha 1. Genesis Alpha 1 mixes thrilling roguelike mechanics with a deep shipbuilder and fast first-person action, putting you in the role of an interstellar pioneer. It's set in a near future ravaged by wars, corrupt regimes, and devastating pollution. Influential corporations have created the Genesis program in a last-ditch attempt to save humanity. Genesis Alpha 1 hits PC, PS4, and Xbox One on September 4th. Next up, we have PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds 1.0 launch on the Xbox One. Yes, PUBG, the game that really took the Battle Royale formula to the forefront, is now having its full release on Xbox One. It goes without saying that PUBG at this point has been overtaken by Fortnite, but it definitely has a lively player base of its own, and it's a very popular game, so seeing the 1.0 launch on the Xbox One will be pretty cool. It comes September 4th. Next up, we have Planet Alpha. Planet Alpha is set in a beautiful alien world filled with mystery and danger. You're pursued by relentless enemies, and you must harness the power of night and day as you struggle to survive. The world of the game is affected by the solar cycle, and as you progress, you'll discover a unique gift. You can manipulate the time of day and use it to your advantage. Planet Alpha hits PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch on September 4th. Next up, we have Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age. Dragon Quest is finally back with a mainline entry in Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age. We did get a couple of spin-off titles, but this is back to traditional Dragon Quest, and Dragon Quest XI is shaping up to be very good. The game already released in Japan, and it was received very well over there, and it's finally coming stateside on September 4th. JRPG fans, this is one to look out for. Next up, we have Destiny 2 Forsaken. Yes, Destiny 2 is quite a controversial game, but through the expansions, it's definitely going to get better and better, and now we have the third major expansion in Forsaken. Forsaken will have a large overhaul to the gameplay. It's a large expansion, and the story will have a Western revenge theme according to Bungie, and a large portion of the expansion will take place in the Reef's Tangled Shore. And there's a brand new raid called Last Witch, which takes place in the endgame area. That raid is said to have more bosses than any other raid, with a massive roam area, puzzles, and the raid will change over time based on players' actions in the raid itself. There's also a new Gambit mode that combines PvE and PvP, so this is a pretty large expansion. Destiny 2 Forsaken will be hitting PC, PS4, Xbox One on September 4th. Next up, we have Zone of the Enders, the second runner, Mars. While Hideo Kojima is mostly known for Metal Gear Solid, he also worked on a little mech franchise known as Zone of the Enders, and now the second game is back with Zone of the Enders, the second runner, Mars. This is a remastering of the second game, but with a lot of improvements. Now it's running in 4K, and if you have PlayStation VR or VR on PC, it's fully playable through that as well, so that'll add another layer to the Zone of the Enders experience. Zone of the Enders was already a very well-received mech game, and we don't see a lot of those these days, and considering it's coming back better than ever, this is one to be excited for. It's coming to PC and PS4 on September 6th. Next up, we have SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy. This is a fighting game where you use 2 characters per fight. Every battle, you'll choose an attacker that serves as the playable character, as well as a supporter that assists the former. Unlike other fighting games, it's impossible to win a battle in this game with a normal move, and thus the player must use a finishing move. These are called the Dream Finish. Looks to be a pretty charming fighting game. It's hitting PlayStation 4 and Switch on September 7th. Next up, we have Immortal Unchained. Immortal Unchained is a brand new IP in a Souls-like vein, but it's described as Souls with guns. The game does look very interesting, and I can always get behind a new, unique IP like this, and yes, it is of the Souls-like style, but it definitely has its own unique elements going on for it. The only problem is it's releasing on September 7th, the same day as Marvel Spider-Man, and everyone with a PS4, I think we know what game they're gonna go with. Hopefully Immortal Unchained finds some traction of its own, but I think it is gonna be a little difficult being released on September 7th, but we shall see. Next up, we have Boundless. Boundless is an online universe of connected worlds. Every player's choice will have an impact. Explorer, builder, hunter, trader, crafter, you have to make your own path. You open portals to travel seamlessly between diverse planets and as you expand your adventure across the universe. You can watch the sun rise on a volcanic world before joining friends to prospect for precious resources on a desert planet. There's a lot of variety to the game and Boundless does seem to have a lot of potential. It hits PC and PS4 on September 11th. Next up, we have Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Yes, Tomb Raider is back once again after 2 excellent games with 2013's Tomb Raider reboot, then Rise of the Tomb Raider. Now we have another title that looks to raise the bar in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Shadow of the Tomb Raider looks to be a bigger experience than Rise of the Tomb Raider with more quests, more tombs, and better gameplay that really lets you tailor the game to how you want to play it. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is hitting PC, PS4, and Xbox One on September 14th. Next up, we have Black Clover Quartet Knight. Now, Black Clover was not the anime IP I was expecting to make a transition to video games so quickly. Black Clover has been gaining some popularity, but not to the point to warrant its own video game, at least not in my eyes. But surprisingly, it is happening, and it's not just a typical Dynasty Warrior style game or a one-on-one fighter. No, Black Clover Quartet Knight is actually a 4v4 third-person shooter action game, and that is very interesting. With that fact known, I actually have some anticipation for Black Clover Quartet Knight. If you're a fan of the series, you're probably going to be even more excited as it hits PC and PS4 on September 14th. Next up, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Country DLC. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is getting a major piece of DLC with Torna the Golden Country, and this will be available as a standalone entry, and you can get it digitally or there is even a physical copy available. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was a very well-received JRPG, probably the best RPG available on the Nintendo Switch, and this DLC, Torna the Golden Country, is a prequel to the game set 500 years before the events of the main game. It looks to be around a 30-hour experience, so expect something very sizable here as Torna the Golden Country hits the Switch on September 14th. Next up, we have Insurgency Sandstorm. Insurgency is back once again with a brand new entry in Insurgency Sandstorm, a team-based tactical first-person shooter based on lethal close-quarter combat and objective-oriented multiplayer gameplay. Again, it is the sequel, and Sandstorm is reborn, improved, expanded, and bigger in every way. You can experience the intensity of modern combat where skill is rewarded and teamwork wins the fight. Insurgency Sandstorm hits PC on September 18th. Next up, we have Transference. Transference looks to be a very trippy game. Imagine an escape room set in a deranged mind. Experience a first-person exploration game in a chilling new dimension. You shift between 3 perspectives of a family and unravel the mystery hiding in this mind-bending psychological thriller. This game will also have a VR focus, but you can play it with traditional controls if you want as well. Transference hits PC, PS4, and Xbox One on September 18th. Next up, we have a brand new PS4 free-to-play game in Warface. Warface is an online free-to-play first-person shooter, and it's a very good first-person shooter at that. It's done by Crytek, the guys that have also done Crysis, and you'll be able to put your skills to the test and challenge other players in PvP, or you can join with friends to compete in PvE missions together, opposed by AI forces that never cease or give in. There are hundreds of weapons, armor, body skins, and attachment, and Warface will be available on the PlayStation 4 on September 18th. Next up, we have The Bard's Tale 4 Barrows Deep. The Bard's Tale is finally back with a brand new entry with The Bard's Tale 4 Barrows Deep. It's a very iconic RPG franchise and it'll have you delve into a tactically rich combat system that rewards creativity. You'll have to solve puzzles to gain treasures and advantages and discover a beautifully crafted world. The Bard's Tale 4 Barrows Deep hits PC on September 18th. Next up, we have Valkyria Chronicles 4. Yes, Valkyria Chronicles is also making a comeback. This is very exciting to see as every past Valkyria Chronicles game has been absolutely excellent. Even though the games haven't done commercially all too well over here in the States after the release of Valkyria Chronicles Remastered, it looks like that did well enough to justify the release of Valkyria Chronicles 4, and the game will take place parallel to the first game with its own original story. And if you've never played Valkyria Chronicles, expect some awesome tactical gameplay with an amazing story. Valkyria Chronicles 4 hits PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch on September 25th. Next up, we have Life is Strange 2. Life is Strange is the latest game by Don't Nod Entertainment, the guys that also did Life is Strange, and they actually also did that vampire-themed RPG in Vampire. And Life is Strange 2 is actually a brand new story centered around 2 brothers in Sean and Daniel Diaz. They're forced to run away from home after a tragic incident in Seattle, and in fear of the police, Sean and Daniel are headed to Mexico while attempting to conceal a sudden and mysterious supernatural power. Life is Strange 1 was one of the most impactful games of recent memory. I expect the same with Life is Strange 2 as it's hitting PC, PS4, and Xbox One on September 27th. And lastly, we have Dragon Ball FighterZ for Nintendo Switch. One of the best fighting games of this generation is finally hitting the Nintendo Switch with Dragon Ball FighterZ. Yes, it's a Dragon Ball game, but it's not like your typical Dragon Ball game where it's more simplistic in its combat and fighting style. This is a fighting game with a lot of deep mechanics and a game that you'll need to spend time with to get really good at. It's done by the guys that did BlazBlue and Guilty Gear after all, so you know where this is coming from. Dragon Ball FighterZ hits the Nintendo Switch on September 28th. So that wraps it up, the top 20 upcoming games in September 2018. A lot of games coming next month across a variety of different platforms, so many games to pick from. No way is it possible for anyone to play all of these, but a lot of variety in the game releases. Let us know your thoughts. What games are you planning to pick up next month? A lot of options. That's gonna wrap up this one. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching and goodbye.